Welcome back to another episode of the Top Cinco Pod. Missing last week, but we are back here again this week, and we have got a returning guest, an old school guest, and that is my boy Jimmy Manzano, who started it off with us. We've
That's it.
Done many episodes since, but he is back. He is back. So, Jimmy, welcome. How you doing?
Thanks. Very well. It's good to be back. I think both, myself and everyone watching knew the day would come when you come crawling back. And it was today.
Man said crawling back, guys. It's not really like that, but he was
not really. The message was more like, "Hey, Marley, I'm free to come on the pod whenever you need me, bud. Don't forget about me."
I got a little cue, bro. I'll get you on soon, all right? I'll get you on soon.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate it.
But no, thank you for coming on, man. Good to see you on here again. And even the levels of what we were doing from before is come a long way, which we'll obviously see this week. So I guess love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, now that we can, because since we really didn't know what we were doing when the last time we came together, and then since then I've started producing podcasts separately to this, which I get paid for. So I've had to learn how to actually do all of this in the meantime. And then obviously you seeing where you've taken it from those early couple of episodes is amazing as well. Yeah, so yeah, no, it's great. It's great to now come back with us delivering a much higher quality product off the bat.
Definitely. And have you still been watching ball, obviously, because we are Top Cinco Pod. Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe, by the way, guys, on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram as well. And that's at Top Cinco Pod. Just had to get that in there, Jimmy. But yes, have you been watching the football? We'll get onto the first topic soon. But, your boys...
Yeah, I've been watching... Been watching quite a lot of ball, actually. Big shout out to Cavalry FC as well. They're the Canadian champions.
Went to watch them for those. Yeah, Calgary's where Jimmy lives in Canada. I went to see him last summer, and we actually went to watch a game. And when we watched that game, we were like the standard. We were laughing. The atmosphere was crazy, and they literally went the whole season, and they ended up in the playoffs? Did they?
They got to the playoffs, then they won. They won the whole thing.
They won the whole thing, man. So,
and then they played like one of the CONCACAF games against Pumas, which is like a big team from Mexico, and they beat them.
Mexico, yeah.
They just beat. They're on an insane run of form, which is, like you say, it was the worst standard of football I'd ever seen, including non-professionally. It was I couldn't believe it. And then they must have had a lot of injuries, because there's players since I've seen where I'm like, I don't think that guy was playing, because yeah. So, but there we go.
It was mad. So
keeping up with United's turmoils and that every week. So we'll get to that.
We'll speak about them briefly. Anyway, but let's get started. I want to start with the January transfer window. Obviously, it was pretty quiet for most teams, apart from, let's say, City and Aston Villa. They kind of did big business. City. With the second highest. It's the second highest January transfer spend. They did 218 million euros, bringing in quite a bit of talent. The main one kind of being that Marmoush guy from Frankfurt. A couple of centre backs as well. Where do you rank their business? Obviously, I think it's between them and Villa, right? Would you say?
Well, yeah, because they're the only two that felt like they really did anything. To be honest, there's no one else that really stood out. I mean, all of United's was outgoings apart from Dorgu, but everything else was an outgoing. I thought it was quite desperate from City, to be honest. I don't know, it didn't seem like normally Pep Guardiola signings are super calculated and they typically hit the ground running pretty quickly, because you realise that the scouting was done properly.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know. It just felt
maybe.
Yeah, and I know part of it is because they're not really having a great season, but it's pretty. It was, I don't know. It just seemed it was strange. Like, their season's kind of over anyway, and they've gone and spent as if it's like they're so desperately trying to win the league or something like that. it just and the reason why I think it's great again, I went over this on the earlier episodes I've been on. They've got all these charges, okay, about their financial decisions and they've gone and spent like over 200 million on. Let's be honest, the guy from was it Stuttgart?
Frankfurt, Mamouche.
Frankfurt, sorry, I'd heard of him. I'd heard of him. I didn't know much about it, but the other two players, I'd never heard of them before in my life. Like, you've gone to spend 200 million across three players. It's pretty outrageous.
Well, 3 or 4, but like it's
3 or 4, but it's still just seems crazy.
I really hadn't been following him either.
No,
just someone that as soon as you hear that City are interested, you then go and do your research. You start looking. Of course, it looks like they might have got themselves a player there, but
no, for sure. But it's a strange one because it's like, is he better than Alvarez who just left? I don't know. I guess time will tell that, but it's just a strange signing. But on the other hand, Aston Villa, that's a hell of a window. That's a hell of a window.
The names that they brought in was mad.
The only comment I'll make with it is it seems like they're very winger heavy now across the whole team. There's a lot of wingers there.
So Emery maybe he knows that he likes to make changes in the game as well. He won't fuck around. So maybe he's one of those managers that likes to have that depth on the bench in terms of the options that he's got to him. I mean, Bailey wasn't really performing on that right hand side. So essentially, it's only right that if you had a player of his quality come in, he's definitely going to push him now. So that looks like that side should be flipping. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. If you're Emery or Villa fans, whatever, you bring them all in because I don't know. It's kind of that thing as well. We go, some of these aren't going to work out, but I think some of these are, and it's like you can just. Some of them are done on loan, some of them are permanent. I don't know. It just felt kind of. It's kind of smart how they've done it. Where, if like for example, if Rashford doesn't work out, fuck it, don't worry about it. He's gone in a few months, and then you've still got some really talented wingers like in your squad that you can work with. So, I think they did one of the best windows. It's just fantastic that Aston Villa pulling this off. It's just fantastic.
Great. Champions League
having a window like that, not owned by like an owner which you are perhaps suspicious about, the way they conduct themselves and things like that. Just I don't have to say any more, but it's brilliant. I'm super happy for them.
I want to touch on one of the signings though is Daniel Maalen, he was a former Arsenal youngster actually. So he signed, and I think one of the comments that he made in his the interview was that he can't wait to play Champions League football because obviously the Champions League team. Aston Villa have only gone and unregistered, not registered him for the knockout phases. Like how embarrassing is that for him, and 2, would you be fuming? Because they might not even get Champions League again next season. So that he's like
maybe not
said, I want to play Champions League, and then now he's not even going to be playing.
But I'm right. He's just come from Borussia Dortmund, right?
Yeah,
a Champions League team.
Champions League team, yeah.
So he's been playing Champions League football, and he would have known. He would have known. Like I have seen the quote, and it's what a lot of players say to any team that's playing in the Champions League is they say, "I came here because they're in the Champions League." But he must have known that the odds of Villa getting top 4 regularly is actually quite low. Nobody's expecting that to happen on a regular basis. Like Villa to now become a top 4 team. We expect them probably to be in Europe now. From now, in a top 8 position, but not Champions League. So I don't know. I saw a thing that was a bit of a weird thing to say. You left a team that was guaranteed Champions League every year, like for sure. For sure, guaranteed Champions League.
Stinker this season. They probably won't get it this season now.
Oh, they actually are. Okay.
Yeah, because they're like 11. No, I think they're 13th in the table is what I saw.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, I didn't know. I don't follow German football at all, really.
Okay, so they're 11th in the table, 21 games.
Okay, so they're probably not going to get it then.
29 points, so they're probably not going to get it. Yeah, so
fine, but that's again though. It's still kind of weird to like jump ship that quick and be like, I've got to go. Like you've played Champions League football I don't know, just a bit weird of a statement. But in terms of him being left out, it's it's kind of the game sometimes, isn't it? Like, what's he supposed to do? He can't put him in the squad just because he said that. Like, you know,
That's true. I've
like
got
you
other
can't just
attacking
go, oh
options
well.
that I
Now,
feel.
unfortunately, now we have a Rashford and Asensio, which I didn't realize I was going to have when I signed you. Like, if I didn't realize that was going to happen.
That's
It's
very true as
unfortunate,
well.
but it's the way it goes. It's the way it goes.
This is why football can be such a savage game as well. But like you
Yeah.
said, it is the way it goes. Um, we are going to talk about the FA Cup now. Obviously, that was over the weekend. Couple of upsets. You've got Arsenal out, you've got Liverpool out, you've got Chelsea out. Are you expecting one of the Manchester teams to now go on and win that, or are we expecting a little upset because you've still got teams that are in there that have been performing very well this season. A couple of upsets as well. So, do we think we're going to get an upset? Is an upset on the cards?
So what I can see, okay, is I can see City not winning it. I think they'll get knocked out by someone just because they seem so beatable at the moment. It's crazy.
They've got Plymouth next, and that would be a story if it's Plymouth that had taken
Liverpool and City out of the fucking
and
FA
City,
Cup.
and then
Holy
they
shit!
lose and then they'll lose to, like, I don't know, like Bournemouth or something like that. Or
No, this well, it's funny you
Bournemouth
say that
down and
because
win it.
this is my prediction: is that United are going to get to the final against a team that's having that had a miracle run to get there, right? Like, it's going to be a team that everyone, and I mean everyone, wants to see win. And United are going to beat them, and we're going to beat them in the shittiest way possible. It'll be like a 1-0 win where we got outplayed, and it's just going to make everyone fucking hate us even more. That I can genuinely see that happening.
That's the thing.
It's just
Van Gaal won. He won the FA Cup in his season as well. So
all of the cups we've won under all of our managers since Fergie, we've been shit, and we've just managed to win the trophy. Like, we've just the final against City, we watched it together. We were shit. We weren't the best team.
Yeah,
we just scored the 2 goals.
I mean, that was
like, we're so good at that. We're so good at doing that. Like, it's just, I can really see it. I can see Amarin getting his first trophy in the shittiest way, and that's why I think trophies don't mean that much to United managers anymore. Like, in terms of them keeping their job, it's because it's like they kind of win it in a shitty sort of way anyway. Like, and it's just they don't win it in any kind of convincing manner, so it doesn't actually hold much weight in the end in terms of like whether we keep them or fire them. So
100%.
Yeah.
So, like, in terms of your danger teams, then, so you reckon, let's say that story. I mean, that is definitely something that could happen. It's football. You've also got Nottingham Forest that are still in there. They're playing tonight against Exeter. You've got Bournemouth, who have been dangerous. Newcastle, yourselves, because you're just Manchester United. Villa are still in it. I don't know if you want to give Palace a mention. That's a good game. Palace against Millwall. That would be a flipping at Selhurst Park as well, boy. That would be tasty. And then obviously you guys have got Fulham. I mean, Fulham, you could probably put them down as slight underdogs as well for the competition, because they've been doing all right under Marco Silva.
Yeah. No, they have. They could. There's actually generally a lot of teams in there that could potentially win it without, especially without those big three out. And City and United both look so beatable. Really could be anything. I said it at the start of this podcast how much I love the FA Cup. Like, I love the FA Cup.
Yeah, we did. We had a little
stand
FA
by
Cup
it.
chat.
This is why, folks.
They say the magic of the FA Cup. It's Champions League night as well. Obviously, have you been watching the Champions League? Obviously, it's new format and that. Unfortunately, we've had to have two giants up against each other in City and Real Madrid. In that, you would have bet it. You would have probably put money on one of those to win it. But do you think? First question: do you think whoever wins that game goes on to win the Champions League?
I don't know. I really don't know this year. I don't know, because there is an interesting question with all these new fixtures. Like the fixture, the fixture schedule now, with how long it's been. I think you're going to see an interesting thing happen where teams are going to burn out at different stages. So, and then they're going to kind of come back. So I think you've seen it with. I think Liverpool are going to have a patch soon where they start to really burn out, and they'll go on a bit of a dry run, and then I think they'll finish strong. There's certainly teams like Man City. I think they're a big reason why they're struggling so much this year. Is they just didn't really. There wasn't much of a break, especially for players like Rodri. and all those their top players all went straight to the Euros and straight back into training, and then they're going to have the same thing this year where they've now got another competition in the summer, which is a
that's
real
probably
who
why he's
gives a
got them
shit.
players. He needs that depth, boy.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, that's kind of I think where it will have to, the squads and stuff like that are just going to have to be allowed to be bigger because you really like it is. I didn't sympathise much with them previously, but it is actually
it's
getting to the
mad,
point where I do think it's quite tough. Yeah,
City have had it tough. Tottenham have had it very, very tough. Bournemouth have had it tough. Newcastle had it tough last season. Arsenal have had it in bits. I mean, I think apparently Havertz got injured in training in Dubai today, so that's another attacker out for Arsenal potentially.
Yeah. I think
you
guys will be
as
fine.
well.
I think you guys will
it's just Raheem Sterling, Nwaneri, and Trossard now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Sterling hasn't really filled me with any confidence, so I'm not too sure about that. But
I don't know why he would have done. I don't know why he would have done.
While we're talking about the Champions
what you've
League,
seen in him. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Well, he did have some good years, but since he went to Chelsea, he's completely turned into a shadow of a man. It's like a retirement for him now. That's what it seems anyway. Yeah. Real Madrid have actually just beaten. Man City.
If you just saw my face just then, that was my reaction to that. I've just seen that.
Oh, was it? Yeah, Bellingham, 92nd minute.
And, fucking goal, boy.
PSG beat Brest 3-0.
Nice
and easy for them. And Dortmund beat Sporting 3-0, you know. Who's that there? Guirassy, Gross? Is that Gross? And Adeyemi, where Maalen just came from. You know, Dortmund looked like they've got their leg into the next round and he's not even going to be playing. And he could have been potentially on the bench or maybe even getting minutes for Dortmund. But there you go. That's football for you, mate. Unlucky, Donny. We'll see whether you do get to touch the pitch in the Champions League for Villa in maybe a couple of seasons to come. Let's move on to Stinker of the Week. This is something I introduced, obviously, after had you on. Nice easy section. It is what it is. It's very simple. Stinker of the Week, and this is for a manager. So. Who has been? I'll do mine first, actually, and then you can have a little think about who might be your stinker.
I think we're going to have the same answer.
I think it's like there were a couple that I was thinking about. I did think Maresca, but then he did beat West Ham on Monday. But then they went out to Brighton, and I think that was poor that they went out to Brighton. Brighton aren't really in form right now. Chelsea's team, on paper and the way that they should really be beating Brighton. They're not in the best of places right now, like I said. But I think the standout one's got to be Ange. One of my previous guests, had him as their stinker of the week, and it's got to be Ange again. You're out of two competitions in a week. You said you always. That's what everyone's going to say now. You said you always win something in your second season, mate. Yeah. And you haven't. So stinker of the week for manager is Ange. Let's go over to you, mate.
Completely agree. That's exactly what I said. I said it's kind of it was how could you not pick him this week out of two cup competitions? Now going out of two cup competitions sucks. Okay, it does suck.
Yeah,
but it is all because of the shit. I was such a big Ange fan before that one statement.
You did sing his praises.
It was crazy how much I turned on him. Like was I saying that? I go, I always win things in my second season, mate. So brother, you've been the manager of Celtic, and fucking. Fucking Warriors or whatever. Who gives a shit? You're a fucking nobody. New South. Who gives a fuck? It's who you were coaching. It's insane to have that level of arrogance. Yeah. Who the fuck are you? It's crazy. That from them was Levy should have just sacked him after that interview. Should have just gone, mate, get the fuck out of here. You're not doing fucking any. And it's because now it's like you want his downfall. Because you're like, it's Spurs, and it's always funny.
The media we're waiting for.
Yeah, and of course they're going to jump on you. Of course they're going to give you extra shit, and they're going to bring it up, and they're going to fucking, give you a reason. Every time you have a bad result, they're going to give you extra shit because you showed such a ridiculous level of arrogance under no real pressure to do so. It was insane.
It was bonkers. It was bonkers.
Bonkers, yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to describe it. I do he has had crazy injuries, a crazy injury list. But
this is
he also, if top managers will adjust a little bit, he's still like he's playing the same way with a weakened squad that isn't capable of playing it. And it's like, I mean, come on, like it's not like you're not changing your philosophy by adjusting to your situation. You know, I don't think like, I'm going to play, a different formation or play in a different way because I've got 11 players injured is not showing weakness or anything. I think you're a fucking idiot if you just keep playing the same way, and especially when you're losing every week. It's not like you're doing well. You're getting beat a lot.
And do you know what? They're going into this nice, like their training ground is a joke. So they're turning up to this training ground. These men are obviously all breaded up, doing up enjoyment, but they're going into work every day. The stadium's crazy, and then they're getting dicked every week.
Yeah,
like how is that even enjoyable as a profession? They're probably waiting for this season to just finish already.
Well, think of the fans as well. Think of like being a fucking Spurs fan, like especially a season ticket holder. You must just be like
paying bread.
Yeah, getting to watch your teams concede in like several different angles because they've got all these fancy screens all over screens in the back of the seat so you can watch your team concede again.
Oh mate, honestly, it's bad times for them. I don't like honestly them and Man United at the moment.
Because the thing is, as a United fan, I didn't realise how bad it had got for them until like about a month ago. Because I was just so like, oh man, United are doing shit. United are shit.
You were just you're on your own.
I'm gonna blow us. How's that happen? Yeah. Crazy.
Well, that leads me into the next point of where you think United are going to finish the end of this season as a United boy, because it really has been a mental season.
I think we're going to finish around where we are. Like I think if we got in 10th or above, I think that would be like I would take it because I don't think it's going to get much better than that.
Yeah.
What I love about Amarin and his start is he's the first one in a while, or maybe even since Fergie, even that's actually just sticking to his guns in terms of no, not since Fergie, because Mourinho did do that a bit as well, but certainly like Ten Hag and Ollie, they just reverted back to this shit counter-attacking football where it's like basically players don't have to run until like for only certain periods of the game when. They're gonna heat the break. Other than that, they're just gonna do what they want. Yeah, they're just gonna sit back, and the attacking players are gonna do fuck all and just be lazy as fuck. So it was at least he's trying to implement an actual system, and he's sticking by it. And I think there are he's addressing lots of problems that I think most fans have been screaming for, in my opinion. Like for me, it was with Rashford. It was like I'd given up on him. It was time for him to go. He's such a little PR fucking merchant, that guy. Like where it's I'll act like multiple managers have kind of suggested it about him, and Aaron was coming out and saying he's not training properly, like he's training badly. Like let's be honest, and then Rashford will make a tweet like, "Oh, I'm going to do extra training sessions and all this shit." It's like, brother, like go fuck yourself. Like how fucking stupid do you think we are as fans? That we think a new coach has come in and it's just decided, do you know what? Rashford's the problem. I'm just going to blame everything on this one kid. He's not working hard. No, I think Amarin's come in and he's been stunned at how fucking lazy Rashford is. I bet he can't believe it.
Really?
Because listen, you know this as well. You've played at a higher level than a lot of people. There's lazy trainers, but if they're talented enough, they don't have to do as much as everyone else. They don't. Okay, they just don't. True, but think of how low it would have to go for those talented players to be like, oh, it's not even worth having them around. It's not even worth having them in training with us. Like it's that late. It's got that bad.
It's a very good point you make.
Like, the talented players don't have to work as hard as the shit players. Everyone knows that. That's kind of life in general.
We've seen stories. Even you've seen players talk about it when Hazard was at Chelsea, when he was at Lille. Like I think Lille, he played like his last game, like hungover or drunk. You've got him at training and like not even just like little things like these man just not even doing up their boots and that because they could just be so bov and so cash and they'd still tear it up and still ripping it up because That's just how it is. But then you've got that one luxury player that you'll allow, but maybe like that's a dying thing as well. You can't have a luxury anymore.
Do you think Diego Maradona? Do you think Diego Maradona was the hardest trainer?
Nah. We've all seen clips of him when he's doing like.
You reckon he worked as hard as everyone else? Mate, he's like doing keep-ups with his fucking chewing gum, like shit. Like he didn't give a fuck, like that. But that's what I mean. But it's not. You don't have to work hard if you're talented. Of course you do. But I think, it just for me that was giving me an insight when he was like, "It's so bad, he's not even worth being in the squad." I was like, "Oh man, it must be fucking pathetic."
Just constantly getting dropped. And not even like making the bench.
No, exactly. And when you look at other players, he made the same criticisms about Garnacho. Garnacho was back in the squad the very next game. The very next game after he criticised both of them and left them out. And Garnacho continues to... I think there's still sometimes tactical issues with him not quite getting in the system. Yeah. So he's not guaranteed to start, whereas it felt like he was under Ten Hag. But he still gets plenty of opportunity because I think he's applying himself in a much better way. So yeah, good riddance. See you later.
And we start again. So you're saying the plan is 13th?
Get through to the end of the season.
13th. Yeah.
If we manage to win the FA Cup or the Europa League or something like that, absolute miracle. That would be a huge deal. I would take that. But I've accepted a trophyless, pretty fucking awful season. Let's get rid of some more deadwood in the summer. Let's clear out some more. Let's bring in some more players that he specifically wants and work for his system, and let's give it a real go from next year.
14 games to go, so let's see. Your prediction is 13th. We'll obviously touch on this at the end of the season and see where United end up finishing. That would be absolutely crazy for a team of their caliber to finish there, but stranger things have happened in football, and strange things will and continue to happen in football. So let's see what happens with that. The last thing I want to talk about this week is a bit of a strange one, actually, and it only came out. Actually, there's two bits. So I'll touch on them. They both came out like this afternoon. Actually, one of them was this new potential penalty rule. Did you see it? I think I don't know if I.
You shared it with me. From what I gather from it, it's just now no players are allowed to run into the box essentially after the kick's been taken, or.
So it's just a penalty. If you score your penalty, obviously it's a goal. If you miss, obviously, or it's saved, it's a goal kick. This is Pierre Luigi Collina, the OG ref.
OG ref, mate. Yeah.
OG boy, no one messing with him. No. So this is something that he thinks would benefit the game. What are your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I'm not against some reformed penalty kicks because I think there is a lot of like kind of bullshit that goes with it. Like, you do see players, for example, like they do enter the box sometimes early. Like you see players get into the box early and it doesn't get pulled up, even with VAR.
Yeah, this is what he's saying. You
do see it a lot as well with goalies coming way too far off their line for penalties, kicks, saves, and things like that. Whereas, I'm quite up for having it like, kind of, it's just like, to remove any chances of incidents. Like it's down to interpretation. So if you say, there's no players in the box and so it's just, if it's saved, it's over.
Because if it goes in, that's it. He said it often the penalty is a bigger chance than the one taken away by the foul. And the attacker also gets a chance to play the rebound, which is obviously a great shot. He said the solution is just one shot. It's just a one-shot rule. Just like penalty shootouts, no rebounds. Either you score or play resumes with a goal kick. So that will,
I completely agree with that reasoning. He is completely right. And that's why players go down, like in positions where they're actually not even going to shoot. They sometimes their back could be away from goal, but if you just make contact, they'll go down, and they're now getting a really good goal, as good of a goal scoring opportunity as you can get. So no, I completely agree with the logic of that, and I'm fine with that.
So
There's not many rule changes
I'd like to see that trialed. I wouldn't mind seeing that trialed. That's for sure. I mean, we flipping gave VAR a chance, so I definitely wouldn't mind seeing that.
But no, it is the thing. The penalty is so massively in the favour of the attacker. I do agree with that. Like, it is massively And it kind of should be in some way. It wouldn't be very exciting.
Because imagine like how many times have we grown up? Yeah, I mean, we've watched football for years now, and we've seen keepers pull off. Some of them have been shit saves, some of them are weldy save, and then they just get like a rebound. Either the guy that's missed
because
it, or
the goalies, I expect he has to push it away so hard that it's like they can't possibly get it, or he has to somehow catch it, and it's like, well, fucking catching it from a 12-yard shot that's blasted by one of the best strikers in the world or whatever, it just isn't realistic. So I do think it. Yeah, I think that's a great. I've got no not even any notes on any improvements. I think that's a great.
Yeah. That would be good to see.
Yeah, I like it. There'll probably be people in the comments saying this guy's a fucking idiot. He doesn't know ball. Blah 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 blah. Oh, yeah. Like I had previously.
That's when he was getting me all those views on TikTok, mate.
That was. Fucking didn't realise David Beckham had so many fans in 2024. Fuck me. Like, whenever it was, 2024 we did that. Crazy.
Oh, that was jokes.
Whatever. Fuck him. I don't care. Stand by it.
But yeah, that's the end of this week's episode. So good to see you again. Thank you very much for coming on. And like I said before we jumped on this episode today, we're going to get you on again. We're going to rap about some of the stuff that we talked about earlier on in the season as well, and touch and see where those players that we were criticising and players we were praising and discussing, and see how they've come on as well and how their season's been since we first discussed. But before I let you go, make sure you like, follow, share and subscribe. We are at Top Cinco Pod, and that's on YouTube, TikTok and Instagram as well for all the content on the show and this week's episode, guys. Jimmy, thank you very much for joining, man. And
all good, mate. Thanks for having me.
Get you on soon, boy.
Yes, bud, for sure.
Cheers, man.
Nice, mate.